Messiah. Well, this is the most unprofessional start to a live stream ever. There we go. Why is it still so dark? Oh, what an awful API. Okay, so I'm live. I guess I should just wait for some people to join in. In fact, should I put that one on top of there, like that? And then they can be like buddies. Yeah. And then slide that one over there. Oh yeah. Maybe unprofessional but real. No, definitely. I didn't realise you heard me. Yeah, no, definitely real. We've got the O4, we've got the O4 Lite, and I've just flown them, and I'm definitely real. There ain't no AI here. It's cold, by the way. You can see there's probably, what, lots of snow over there, look. Although, I suppose that's not lots of snow if you live in Canada. That's not even a dusting of snow if you live in Canada. How's it going? Only drones in the house with the lemur. We've got the O4, we've got the O4 Lite. So, first impressions of the O4 Pro are, I do have a very slight vibration. Flown which goggles? Goggles 3, as far as I'm aware, and I need to double check this, but as far as I'm aware, you can only fly them on the Goggles 3. Now, I think that's quite important because I think the O4 Lite has the ability to completely wipe out CADX, most of analog sales and HD0 with this new race mode at the price point of 99 quid with onboard. How do I adjust the brightness and things on this app, because it looks terrible. Yeah, so I think that's part of the problem, the fact that you can only use the Goggles 3. And this is what I was thinking when I was flying. I think potentially they can completely wipe out CADX, most of analog and HD0 with the Lite. It's taken my Avion RC Icon down from 159 grams to 123 grams. That's without a battery, obviously. It's ludicrous, literally ludicrous how good that is. But if you can only use it with the Goggles 3, what you're then doing is forcing people into a really expensive purchase where I don't think there is the appetite for it. Like I've been saying for weeks, I want to buy a pair of HD0 goggles. I'm glad I didn't, because I'm going to buy more of these, because I think these are a better product for, certainly for what I do anyway. Race mode is pretty lit, I've got to admit. It does feel, I'm going to have to fly it back to back with HD0 to see just how good it actually feels. But race mode does feel pretty lit, I've got to be honest. And then at the price point, so you're paying less than a HD0 VTX, you're paying less than a CADX VTX, but you're getting a race mode, you're getting 23p 3 frames per, oh, okay, if you don't say things like that, although it is a terrible picture, and I don't know why, because my camera's not that dark. I've just lifted the sun visor out of my face to see if that helps, which probably makes no sense. But I flew the O4 Pro with the Goggles 2. Oh, okay. Do you know if the O4 Lite and Pro both work with the Goggles 2? Because I've got the Goggles 2 now. Part of my rant there was forcing people to buy the Goggles 3, I think, is a real misstep by DJI. Even though we all know that DJI like to do things like that, I think it's a real misstep by them. So if you can use the Goggles 2, although I appreciate they're not that much cheaper, you can pick up a pair of second-hand ones at least. I think that potentially changes things. Now, obviously, they're going to look a little bit different, aren't they? So what we need to check is, I'll fly them back to back and see just what the difference is. I need to hunt down this vibration. O4 Lite picture quality like O3. Yes, it is. I did have a problem with the O4 Lite. So, 2 Integra M3. Right, I had no idea the 2 worked. I wish I'd have known that. What if I focus here? Why is it so dark? It's really annoying me now. Okay, so yes, the O4 Lite does look like the O3. I did have a problem though. So it only supports a 3S battery. My Avion RC runs 4S's. So what I did is I wired it to a 5-volt pad because it says it takes between 3.4 volts and 13 volts. However, when I throttled up, it rebooted. So I don't have the full experience to say, but what I can say is, and I could see this through the goggles before I throttled up and I walked around with it. I appreciate it's in low power mode. It's not ideal, it's not perfect, but it does look like the O3. Now, if that's true, and we can get a picture. So I looked at the specs, and the camera sensor is very slightly smaller than the O3 camera sensor wise, but it is only a tiny bit. Everything else pretty much is the same. You can actually see the board here, although you probably can't because it's just so dark in this car. But I mean, look at that. That is literally the O4 Lite board there on the top there. I apologise for it being so dark. I've got no idea why YouTube's API is so poor at handling bad light. So if you can use the goggles too, that's a game changer. Yes, I do think that the O4 Lite does look like the O3. And if that's the case, I think we've got a game changer on our hands, because it used to cost you about 250 quid, dollars, euros to get a naked O3 from people like Flywoo. However, now you can potentially get a naked O4, which is a naked O3, for $99. It's fine. Your screen. Oh, it's fine. Oh, well, that's awkward. As long as you can see, I don't care. So yeah, you can then potentially get a naked O3 for just $99. Now, the one caveat to that is it doesn't support an SD memory card. So it's got 23 gigabytes of onboard storage. It does not give you the option of putting a memory card in there. So if you're going to use this for a long time, a day or two, you're going to need somewhere to pull the footage off and dump it onto, like an external drive or something. Just bear that in mind. The O4 Pro obviously does have an SD memory card slot, as you can hopefully see there. I did only zip tie this on. I've got real problems with this quad. So yeah, there's the O4 Pro there, look, and then we can obviously see the camera. The camera there, and it is a stunning piece of technology. When I was flying it, and this is only goggles view, and this is only so 23 gig for, right, well no, it's worse than that actually. So the Pro, so the expensive one, has 4 gigabytes of onboard memory, but you can put an SD card in it. The Lite has 23 gigabytes of onboard storage, which I think is the same as the Neo, but you can't put an SD card in there. Now that's going to fill up pretty quick at 100 megabits per second, 60 frames per second, 4K. So you are going to need to think ahead about how you are going to dump that footage off there as quick as you possibly can. I know most phones will allow you to OTG it and pull it off. Certain Chinese phones like Xiaomi don't allow you to do that. So yeah. Now I hope I've got a BEC, because if I've got a BEC, I'll wire this up again later and I will go and fly it, and hopefully it won't reboot as I throttle up. Bit frustrating, but genuinely from what I could see in the goggles initially, it did look like we have an O3 Lite, essentially. I don't think 4K 60 will take an hour. I think it'll be about 40 minutes, mate. Now, I watched Albert Kim yesterday, the exciting Albert Kim. I love the man to death. And he said that, I don't know what he said. What was I thinking? I completely lost my tangent. This is why I should never do live streams. He said something about something, and oh, that was it. He said that 4K 30, so if you've ever tried to fly 4K 30 on the O3, it's really jittery. So your latency in your goggles is linked to your frame rate. So the higher your frame rate that you're recording at, the smoother the footage is in your goggles. Now 4K 30 has always been really jittery and really hard to fly. I had to fly it at the fairground because it was so dark. I needed as much light in that sensor as possible. So I thought first flight on the O4 Pro is I'm going to follow Mr. Kim and I'm going to go with 4K 30 and see what it's like. And my God, it was terrible. So I'd just caution that. Now, Albert Kim may see things differently than my eyes do. So I'm not going to say, like, I'm not going to start a YouTube flame. Well, that's not what I'm saying it for. But I'm just saying, I did try different modes. And I personally think the O4 Pro is just as bad in 4K 30 as the O3 was in 4K 30, and that's using the goggles 3 as well. As soon as I switched to 4K 60, my God, it was like flying a GoPro. Now, I was flying on my local flying field. It's completely full of snow, it's completely white, so the conditions, the lighting was perfect. I've got blue skies, as you can see. So it's going to look good. There's no questions it's going to look good. It felt like I was flying a GoPro. Now, that's going to change when it comes to low light. Again, I've seen some YouTubers say there's no need to have a GoPro at night time anymore. This is just as good. Don't think that's necessarily going to be the case, but we're going to investigate and we're going to dig a little bit deeper into that. If I haven't got a BEC, how can I stop it rebooting itself? That's my question, because I really want to go fly it, because it does genuinely just look like the O3. It really does. And I was amazed actually when I switched, because I flew the O4 first, the O4 Pro, sorry, first, and then I switched to the Lite, and I was amazed at just how good it looked in the goggles. I was being generous, yeah. It's not good, but that said, for 99 quid to get stabilized onboard footage at such high quality, it's wild. I fly 4K 100 or 2.7 100 on goggles 2 with O3, since I mentioned can't from stick input when pictures flying with 4K. Yeah, I agree with you that 4K 100 or 2.7K 100 does feel a little bit better. For me, 4K 60 is just as good as 4K 100. If have O3 already, do you need to upgrade? I think it's going to depend. I'd always recommend that you get another quad, so I'd always recommend that you stick an O4 in your new quad. From what I've seen, I haven't seen the footage on the PC yet, so I'm only basing this upon the goggles footage. But based upon the goggles footage, I think there's a big enough gap from the O3 to the O4 Pro to upgrade, yes. Whiskey Yeet. Internet is a dog's arse where I am, so just dropping by to say hello, Whiskey Yeet. I hope you're well. I really appreciate you being here for as long as your internet allows. Is it worthwhile upgrading from an O3 to an O4 Lite? I'm going to say no, because you're going to lose a lot of storage. However, I had an O3 in this and I've saved myself about 30 grams. So I dare say for lightweight builds, if you want to save as much weight as possible, you can then go heavier on the battery, or you can then have more hang time, etc. I mean, that Avion RC quad hangs for days. I mean, it'd be amazing to fly an extra sort of 30 grams lighter. I'm just a bit gutted that I had a technical issue with it, but that's what we're here for. Footage on the PC should be like DJI Osmo Auction 4, since the same sense. I mean, in that case, I would absolutely say upgrade. I've got to be honest. Shame really never caught one of your lives. Happy belated New Year to you and your family, mate. Yep, you too, Whiskey Eat, mate. Take care, and I'm sure I'll do more of these moving forward anyway. So you're welcome to drop by at any time. I may even do a live on one of my Alton Towers next and have a quick look at their new ride. Yeah, if it's like the Osmo 4, then yeah, absolutely upgrade. There is a few cautions. Obviously, number one being that camera is bloody massive. So you're going to need a decent sized frame to fit it too. Oh, you knew what to say to get me excited. It's a family show. Let's calm down. But no, I will. I'll go live at Alton Towers next, and I don't know. Well, I say that I can barely get a signal around there to send a text message. So I'll try. And if anybody knows of any publicly accessible Wi-Fi around there, then drop me a DM and I'll make it happen. So, yes, absolutely upgrade if you can afford. If you've got a frame that fits it, I think initially we're probably going to have to wait for some upgraded frames. As you can see, I have literally shoehorned the camera into that, and it's probably not. I mean, it was fine. I've swung on it like a monkey, and it's fine. So I'm just gutted that it kept rebooting when I throttled up. Mainly because I took off from the roof of my car, and the roof of my car's glass. So you can imagine what would have happened if it hadn't have just moved to the left a little bit or to the right. Somebody's got an exhaust on the car. Wonder what else I got for Christmas. Right, for me, I would not upgrade from the O3, but Quadmula released the DJI N with O4 Sport, which seems perfect. Small drone, no problems in view, quality of the O4. Sounds like, yeah, that sounds like fire, it really does. Fair point, not been for a couple of years and won't be going back soon. Oh, how come, Whiskey? Any particular reason? To be fair, mate, as a guest, I don't think I've been for about 2 or 3 years. From my point of view, the cost of entry and what's on offer ever since I did an America and a Europe trip has just made it, for me, a complete no-go. Ever since I did those trips abroad, I've got to be honest, I don't think I've visited a single UK park ever since. How much do those cost, Labona? So the O3 Lite, sorry, no, I keep saying the O3, the O4 Lite with camera, antenna and board will stand you $99, €99 or 99 English pounds. And the O4 Pro will cost you $209. Because you can fly freestyle, the cinematic, throttle up, reboot on off. No, mate, it was yeah, so basically the O4 Lite, it says it'll only take up to a 3S and I'm running 4S. So I took the power lead out and I soldered it to a 5-volt pad because it says it'll take anywhere from 3.7 volts. When I throttled up, the whole flight controller rebooted, including the O4. So I really don't know why. I assume if I put it on a beck, it'll stop the problem happening. The soldering and everything's fine, so I just don't know why it was doing it. You're more than welcome. Lost everything between July and August on South Coast now. Oh wow. Well, do you know what? I've never been to Polton's, and everyone says how good Polton's is. I don't know if there's an idle voltage drop. Maybe a bad battery. It could be. I don't think it is because I flew it yesterday, and it was fully charged. But I did try a couple of times, and it did the same. I'll double check when I get home, to be fair. I'm sorry to hear that you lost everything between July and August, Whiskey. On the South Coast now, so at least the weather's nicer for you than it is in Leicester, that's for sure. And like I say, I've never been to Poland, so I don't know. Maybe say hi to Peppa Pig for me. And Thorpe. Is it true what they say about Thorpe, that they're removing stealth? Because I've not, again, been to a UK park for years. I did Red Force, and Red Force just absolutely killed ever going back on stealth again for me, if I'm honest. It could, yeah, it could be. I wouldn't... See, if it's not the battery, and I don't think it is, I'm just wondering what else would cause the voltage drop. I do have some 3S batteries I could run it on, but I don't want them because I want to make a direct comparison, because I flew the Avion yesterday with the O3 in it, and then I've saved the footage to compare it to the O4 Lite today. Polton's is great for families, not very thrilling. A couple of decent rides. Highly recommend a visit if you're ever down with the Sprogs. Cold battery. No, it was in my pocket, and I am fire, as you all know. Yeah, definitely, Whiskey. That's the only problem, isn't it? Like, it isn't
unless you're actually sort of based down that way, it's a bit of a nightmare. Hope Stealth sticks around. I do like it. Like I said, Red Force Red Force ruined it for me. But then, to be fair, just so many rides just ruin the UK, don't they? But it is what it is. Just an idea, maybe the Beck on the flight controller for the 5V is not strong enough to power everything, including the O4, so if there is a little voltage drop, it could cause a brownout on the MCU. That's a good point. I'm hoping that I've got a Beck, otherwise I'm a bit buggered because I can't put it onto VBAT because obviously I've got 4S. That would make sense, Lima, to be fair. Why can nobody drive in snow? Everyone is driving like... not worth a trip on its own. Oh, no, I agree. Cleanest one, most well-managed place for children ever. Yeah, I get told that all the time. The ops are brilliant. It's really clean. It's really well-managed. It's a really nice place. But like you say, from up north anyway, up north, from up my Sheffield, lad, it's a reet trek for a day. And I just, to be fair as well, I'm too fucking old for it these days. I've got to be honest. But yes, I will definitely try and steal some public Wi-Fi and see if I can do a little bit of a live from Alton Towers for you. And take a cheeky look with my 200mm lens at their new ride and get some nice close-up footages. Up north. Bye, it, lad. Going to get the kids. Keep an eye on the time. I don't know what time it is. It's only half 2. What are you talking about? I'm out for now. Keep me updated if you find out what the issue was. Yep, I will do, Lima. I will have a look. There might be another 5V pad. It may just be the flight controller issue. I'm 99.9% certain I've got it back, so hopefully I can get it sorted. It'll probably be tomorrow like now. What's up, nerd? FPV. Will my goggles 2 work? If you have goggles V2, as in the big, thick, original ones, no. If you have goggles 2, as in the skinny version that looks similar to the goggles 3, then yes. And I've given that explanation purely because some people call goggles 2 goggles V2 and V2s 2s. So it's best just to clarify what we're talking about before we talk about it. I did speak to Avion RC this week. They do want to work with us on the channel closely, which is good because I think their quads are some of the best lightweight quads I've ever flown, and I'm dying to get that flying again. I have the old ones, might as well get the 3S so I can use the race. Yeah, you're right, to be fair, RP. If you got the old ones, you want to take advantage of everything, don't you? So you want that race mode, because then you've got that low latency as well, which rivals analog, and it rivals potentially HD. I know by saying it's going to rival HD Zero, I will get the pitchforks in the chat, but it is what it is. Do you know of any tiny whoops that don't already include a VTX, kind of like the Pavo series from Beta FPV? What I can tell you is there is a tiny whoop coming out from a certain company whose first letter begins with a B and last 3 letters end in FPV, which will either have the O4 Lite with it or you can buy it without the O4 Lite, and that's coming at the end of January. I hope they're not watching, because I'll be in trouble for telling you that. But I didn't tell you who. You're more than welcome. You are more than welcome. It's a 75mm whoop as well, by the way, just in case you needed to know that. I'm sorry, I'm watching traffic. I'm watching people unable to drive in the snow, and I'm dying to just pan the camera around and show you guys the ineptness, but then I'll probably get beat up, and I'm not there for that. New ABO, cheers. I don't know what ABO means, but yeah, you're welcome. New about? I don't know. What's the lowest temperature you'd fly freestyle in? It's -7 today. And I think I might have died 6 times. So I'd say -7 is probably the lowest temperature. I hate the cold. I cannot tell you, I would much rather fly in 50-degree heat I know some people can't deal with the heat. I can't deal with the cold. So I've got like 3 layers on. I've got 2 pairs of gloves. I actually had to take my gloves off for the second flight because I just didn't quite have the dexterity. And I thought, well, I really don't fancy smashing a 5-inch into somebody's gaff. So I don't know what you mean. But yeah, -7 is probably... how is the quality? Quality is amazing. Quality is genuinely amazing. I did have a slight vibration on the O4 Pro for some odd reason. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just a little bit too big for the frame and therefore isn't seated nicely on the gummies. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out of this tonight. I'm going to put it in the Itzy Evo and I'm going to fly in the Itzy Evo tomorrow. Lowest I go is 30 in the sun. Is that Celsius or Fahrenheit? Not a lot of wind. I can't do with the cold either. I sleep with the heater on until it... I've got to be honest, RP. I sleep with the heater on in the summer. Like my missus goes crazy. Oh, new subscriber, nice. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I hope to entertain as much as I possibly can. Do you think the O4 Lite would be too heavy for a 65? No, I don't, to be fair. It's 8 grams. So what I'm going to do is, if I can't get it to work with this flight controller tonight, I'm going to stick it in a 2S Tiny Whoop tomorrow and I'll have some more footage for you guys. Is it worth the price? The Pro or the Lite? In fact, no, to be fair, both. From what I've seen, and I've got to caution this because I have only seen it from the goggles point of view and I've only seen it in really good lighting. So I was explaining before, I've flown across my field, which is completely white with snow and the sky is blue. So with that in mind, the lighting conditions for filming are perfect. It looked incredible. It genuinely did. The O4 Lite looked like the O3. So is it worth it? Yeah, absolutely. What time is it? 25 to 3 in the afternoon in the United Kingdom. These people are looking at me like I'm weird. Oh wait, that's because I am weird. Welcome to the channel. Any more questions, guys? Because I need to go and get a Starbucks, so because I'm dying of the cold. But yeah, so yeah, lowest I go is 30 in the sun with not a lot of wind. I don't like the wind. I don't mind flying in the wind if it's not cold, but cold wind or cold and wind is just a no-no for me. It was actually quite nice today, to be fair. Even though it was -7, the sun is out, there's no wind, and it does feel quite warm in the sun, so it's actually quite nice. And it just looks stunning. I'd quite like to go and fly some mountains when it feels like this, but mountains are a lot colder, a lot windier. Cheeky pumpkin spice latte, yes sir. I'm literally parked right in front of Starbucks right now, and even they're looking at me like I'm weird. But then again, they know me, so yeah. Imagine how AI changes FPV. I was looking earlier that NVIDIA have got, what is it, the 5090? And they reckon that with AI, it'll perform about the same as the 4090 that doesn't use AI. Now, obviously, if you add AI to the 4090, it's going to substantially outperform it again, but it's like 500 quid. Whereas the 4090 was like 2 grand. AI is a good thing. We've got to caution AI, though, because you see so many things, especially... What will FPV drones look like? Do you know what? In 10 to 20 years, I'm quite concerned for the hobby. Now, this is where I sound like an old man now, because I've seen I was talking to an old fella at the field, and we was talking about Russia and Ukraine and how, you know, the war sort of caused us a little bit of an issue with FPV. And I do worry. Bear with me. I'm just going to turn my car's engine on again because it's cold. And I do worry in a few years what's going to happen, whether we're going to be forced out of the skies or not. I'm back. Welcome back. So I want to freestyle and have the AI memorize every move I make so I can click save route and have it fly the exact flight. Why? Like, isn't part of the fun doing it yourself? It's like autonomous modes on the Mavic. Like I've got all these amazing autonomous modes on my DJI Mavic 3 Pro. I never use them because part of the fun is being creative and doing it yourself. I didn't even know the 50C. Yeah, I saw it on, I don't know where I saw it. I think it was a couple of nights ago. $549. So it'll be like 700 quid here, no doubt. But they say that because it's like half powered by AI and half powered by actual neural technology, that it'll work or it'll perform to the levels of the 4090, which is wild. And AI can be used for great stuff. It can be used for bad things, but it's like anything in this world, isn't it? Drones can be used for great things. They can be used for bad things. And that is where I do sound like an old man. So Only Drones, welcome back. Why are you at school so early? It's 23. I'm still going to Starbucks, yeah, and I need to go to the toilet. Not that any of you needed to know that, but as somebody said at the start, might not be professional, but it's real. Apparently the AI technology in the 5090 will also be available to the 4090, and then the 4090 will substantially outperform the 5090, but obviously a 4090 is going to cost you maybe 4.5 times the cost of a 5090. But AI is good. If you do a trick or hit a gap that would take 100 tries to hit, then with AI it learns it. It'll make crashing more rare. I'll be able to bail out faster or save us at the last second. I get it, I do. But like when I went to that power station and I was really inexperienced, it was about 2.5 years ago now, and there's like a little gap that's probably, from the ground it looks just as wide as the drone, and there's no room to make a mistake. And I was flying from outside the complex because I couldn't physically climb in. And I thought if I crash, I'm in real trouble here. But that was part of the fun. Like, it's not part of the fun when it costs you money, don't get me wrong. But it's part of the thrill, isn't it? So I can't park outside the gates. Okay. Don't park outside the gates then. Sounds good to me. I do like what you're saying, RP. I do. But also, I'm such a traditionalist. Read that boomer if you want, I don't care. That I just, if I'm going to crash, I'm going to crash. And that's how I'm going to learn. I remember when I first went to 10 years ago, I picked up a drone, didn't know what I was doing. So I found a local drone club that met at a local school on a Tuesday night. And I met the main honcho there, who I'm still friends with today. And he said to me, he said, don't worry if you crash. I said, yeah, but, he said, no. He said, I want you to crash. I said, what? He said, if you're not crashing, you're not finding the limit. And if you're not finding the limit, you're never going to improve. He said, so find your limit. And the only way you're going to find your limit is by going over your limit. So crash. And that's how I've done it. I mean, I did probably for 9 months in the middle of my YouTube journey take things. I went a little bit stale and I went a little bit safe. I'm certainly on the very edge every time I fly now. And sometimes I even push past it a little bit. You could just watch your footage on your I could just rewatch the footage on my goggles, Only Drones. But don't forget, you're not going to get the full 4K experience on those small screens. But yeah, that's a good point. But yes, 4 gigabytes on board for the Pro, 23 gigabytes on board for the Lite, which obviously makes no sense until you realise that one has onboard an SD card reader and the other one does not. Or you can fly as close to you want as walls and objects and set the drone to stay 1 foot away and then intentionally fly into every object. The drone will warp around it from a foot out. So what you're essentially talking about then is DJI proximity sensors, aren't you? Just a different type of flying. You'd fly with that AI for that. Yeah, no, you're right. And it's good to have different options. And the thing is, what I was saying earlier is I think the O4 Lite is going to cause Cadex and HD0 real problems. The reality of it is I don't want it to, because I would prefer to have more options on the market. it's no good having one company monopolize everything as a consumer. So I want HD0 to come out and say, okay, we hear you, we're going to make some cheaper goggles, here they are. We're going to make some cheaper VTXs, here they are. We're going to, you know, increase penetration, we're going to increase range, here it is. Cadex have got a great product, you know. They sent me their goggles in the moonlight and it's brilliant, it really is brilliant, but it just feels like they've got half of DJI's development team and then the other half are interns, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but the products just don't feel as mature. You know, there isn't a USB port to plug it in and pull your footage off. You've got to take the memory card out. Okay, it's not the end of the world, but like on tighter, smaller builds, just let me put a USB in, or to flash. I mean, that's ridiculous. To flash the firmware on the Moonlight, you need to put a little jumper cable into 2 little holes. You lose that jumper cable, you're screwed. You can't update your firmware. So I do think Cadex with the Walk Snail and the Avatar and the Goggles X have got a really, really good product. But again, they're going to need to improve. You know, DJI are going to, all the manufacturers are going to start throwing out 1S, 2S, 65 and 75mm tiny whoops. I know 3 or 4 manufacturers that have got them ready today. And they're going to have to, the others are going to have to catch up, and they're going to have to play and fight hard. And I personally want that to happen. I don't want a monopoly. So the more companies that we've got, the better. Sort of, but with a fast computer on board, fast enough to make a decision in a few milliseconds. Yeah, like I say, the more options and things we've got, the better than the less options and things that we've got. Not to be the guy chatting about AI, just watch the footage back instead of AI learning the route. Hey, hack Tamil. I think it was inevitable anyways, within a few years, we'll have godlike intelligence called ASI. What is the best beginner FPV drone? How much money do you have? Because there are brilliant ones and there are less brilliant ones, but I can't recommend one until I know how much money you want to spend. Which FPV drone do you recommend with an O4 Mini? Again, what type of flying are you going to be doing? Because if you are going to be flying indoors, then I wouldn't recommend this. If you want to fly freestyle, then I recommend this. If you want to fly long range, then I recommend this, but with a Mini or a Lite. So there's numerous options. I'm just going to let you guys know this is the last 5 minutes before I have to go. What I'm talking about is flying in dense suburban where crashing is not an option because it'll land on a house or a person. But would the regulators ever allow that to happen? I don't think they would. Yeah, like it, but DJI drone guys, 200, is that, so do you have goggles? Do you have a controller? And if you do have goggles and a controller, which ones do you have? Because 200 isn't a lot if you need to get everything. And you know it wouldn't crash, you'd be showing off an AI drone to the average old head. Yeah, no, you're right. Especially, like I say, the amount of old people that I see at my field, or elderly people, who are just obsessed with watching me fly. They would love it. I bring them on for ride-alongs and stuff, and they love it. They really do. No, I don't have anything. So if you've only got 200, you're going to be looking at something like a Cetus X. There is another company that's releasing a really good ready-to-fly kit that I've got reviewed on the channel, but I can't tell you about yet because it's embargoed. I don't know the release date. I think it's next week. I'd keep an eye on the channel for that next week because that's a brilliant newbie kit. I can't even tell you what company it's from, sorry. I only have a DJI Mini 2 SE. Just built a Mario 5 with an F405 V4 controller. I do love the Mario frame. I've even got the Mario startup tune on the ESCs. Got a Flywheel LR03 with a new camera with O4. How should I go around 3D prints? Phil, I'm not sure yet, mate, because with the O4 in this, the O4 Pro in this look, it literally completely fills a Volado VX5, and I've got vibrations with it. So we're going to have to wait for the manufacturers to come out with something, I think, because I've got a Flywoo LR4. I'll take a look, but off the top of my head, I'm really not sure how what we're looking at, if I'm honest. That's annoying. I wish I started at buying an AOS 5. Yeah, the AOS frames, I've got an AOS 5. They're brilliant. Really, really good for 600 radio, Master Pocket 120, a few batteries, 100. Yeah, it's not cheap getting into FPV these days, I'm afraid. It's hard to get what you need for cheap. No, you're absolutely right. It is. Like I say, I do have a review coming out, I think, next week on a kit that's really good. It is an analog kit, obviously, for that sort of money, but it should be within your budget. And it's one I'd highly recommend. I've had great fun flying it in this weather. I'll wait for the... I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, Only Drones. I've no idea. Yep, I get you, thanks. Just let the... Yeah, just give it a couple of days. I do know that there's a couple of people working on a couple of things that I can't really mention, but yeah. Is the Inspire one any good? Depends. The problem with the Inspire is you can't fly it anywhere legally anymore. You can only fly an Inspire in the middle of a field 275 billion miles away from any human beings. So yeah, the Inspire one is stunning. A stunning piece of equipment, but you just can't fly it anywhere. It's on their Instagram. Oh, is it? Right, brilliant. Yeah, Beta FPV are bringing out a 1S and 2S 75mm tiny whoop. Apparently it's on their Instagram. That's how I know, apparently. Did you waterproof roof? No, not on these I haven't done. I have used worry-free FPV and landed in a lake deliberately and then taken back off. The video is on my channel from about 18 months ago. I do need to make a proper video about worry-free FPV. It's brilliant stuff. Could it hold a HD camera on top? And what's the cheapest? No. If you're paying 200 quid to get into the hobby, you're not carrying anything with it. You might carry a thumb, but realistically, you're looking at 1S's or maybe something that's underpowered and a 2S, but no, not really. DJI O4 or Moonlight, either, depending on what goggles you've got, they're both really, really good. I think I'm going to buy the Cetus FPV kit. DJI Drone Guys, I do have an affiliate link. I would appreciate if you use that in my Cetus X review on my channel. You don't have to, but if I've helped you today, I would certainly appreciate it. It won't cost you any money. Ah, it's a micro. Yes, the one that's coming out is a micro. That's all I can say. I probably can't even say that. Oops, never mind. Right, I'm going to have to go. I need to go and get a pumpkin spice latte. And my children. Yeah, I nearly forgot them. Okay, I'm going to watch it. Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. It's probably from about 12 months ago. It's the first serious review I did. They have got a lot better since then, don't get me wrong. But there is an affiliate link there, and if it does help you, I would appreciate that if you used it. If you don't, that's absolutely fine. It's not a problem at all, and it won't cost you any extra for using it. But it does tell Beta FPV that they might want to send me some more stuff, which helps you guys. Thanks, Phil. Thanks, RP. Thanks, DJI Drone Guys. Thanks, Whiskey. Thanks, Only Drones, and anybody else who has been in here, commented, text, shared, or done anything. I will see you all later on tonight, where I will have a bit of a review video out from one I've flown and a comparison to the O3. Please, a video on how to bind the Cadex, Go Film, and Walk Snail. I don't have Walk Snail Goggles L, but I can do everything else. I'll have a quick chat with Cadex and see if they'll send me a set. Right, it's amazing. You guys are all absolutely amazing. The Walk Snail is great. Don't get me wrong, but if you've got DJI goggles, then you're going to want a DJI O3. If you've got Cadex goggles, then you're going to want the Cadex. If you've got neither, the Walk Snail is the cheaper way of doing it, and it's just as good as the O3. Right, I've got to go because I need to go and pick up my children and get a coffee. I love you all, and I'll see you all on the next one.